If I had to start learning the harmonica from scratch, knowing nothing, like a complete beginner, the very first thing I would look at on the harmonica trainer, even before taking out my harmonica, is this screen right here. Each column is a hole on the harmonica. And what really matters here isn't actually the number, it's the color. One color for blow notes, blue. Another one for draw notes, red. Another one for alterations or bends, orange. You'll find this color code everywhere in the app, on the tablature, on the diagram, on the live trace while you're playing, everywhere. If you learn it now, even before playing your first note, you'll save yourself weeks. Because later on, you won't need to translate a number in your head anymore. You'll see the color and you'll know directly what to do, draw, blow, or bend. And then, if you really want to know the notes under the numbers and the colors, you click on the Do Re Mi button. And whatever the key of the harmonica, you'll find the position of the notes. So, the habit to get into right away is that clicking on a hole plays the note and writes it immediately into your tablature. There is no Add button to look for. It's as simple as can be, right? But that's exactly how you'll build your first phrases without even realizing it. Once you know how to spot the colors, the holes, and read what's in front of you, the real stumbling block for a beginner is actually, okay, so what do I play now? That's exactly the moment when I'll open the melody generator and go straight into the detailed settings. I'll choose beginner level. That limits the melody to holes 4 through 8. Nothing too technical, no alterations to deal with for now. I'll choose the first scale in the list. It's the major scale, which everyone knows. I'll choose a 1-measure phrasing, maybe later, 2 or 4, but for now just 1 measure. I'll choose easy note durations. I'll uncheck all notes except whole notes, half notes, and quarter notes, and I'll click Generate. And there you go, a coherent melody, not just a random sequence of notes. It generates something within my capabilities, and I can listen and practice right away. So, why this detour through the settings instead of the Surprise Me button you saw here? Because that button pulls from all levels. You might end up with an accidental or an overblow without meaning to. For a true beginner, it's better to lock in the level yourself. It's 2 extra clicks, sure, but you're guaranteed that what comes out is really within your capabilities. The real enemy of the beginner, anyway, is mostly the blank page. Once the level is set, I can regenerate as many times as I want, for as many measures as I want, using the same Generate button to get some variety. And if you uncheck the Replace Current Tablature box, you generate an additional melodic phrase below, so in addition to the one we generated before. So now that I have my phrase in front of me of 1, 2, or 4 measures depending on what I generated, the real question is, how do I practice it without losing patience? If it's already short, 1 measure, for example, my first instinct is to loop everything at once. I click on the arrow here for the loop, and the app replays the phrase continuously without me having to click play again for every attempt. And if, in longer phrases, there's a specific point that's tricky, 2 or 3 notes in a 4-measure phrase, for example, I can narrow it down even further. I just select that specific passage by clicking on the first note of the passage, shift-clicking on the last note of the passage, and the loop plays only that passage. This avoids replaying the measures you've already mastered with every attempt, allowing you to focus solely on what's giving you trouble. And where it gets really clever, whether on the full phrase or the selection, is using the progressive tempo function. I start slowly, let's say at 60, with an increment of 4 and a ceiling of 120. You can even define the number of loops before the metronome speeds up. I don't forget to click on the 4-beat count in and on the metronome, and with each loop, the tempo climbs all by itself. It's literally the method that any good instrument teacher would recommend to you today. Start slowly, without mistakes, and speed up gradually. Except that here I don't even need to think about it. The app does it for me, while I focus solely on my embouchure, my ears, and my breath. If I had to keep just one takeaway from this whole video, it would be this one. Another thing I would do very early on, even without knowing what a bend or an alteration is yet, is to check that I'm playing in tune with the tuner. I choose a note, I play it, and I get immediate feedback. The needle tells me if I'm too flat, too sharp, or right on the money. There's a verdict written out in plain text. Why is this essential from day one, and not just for alterations later on? Because a beginner often doesn't really hit the wrong hole. They play fuzzy. They let air leak into the neighboring holes. Their note isn't clear, it isn't centered, and that, by ear alone, is very hard to correct. Here you have visual, objective, immediate feedback. You know exactly what to adjust because the app tells you. Once my intonation is clean, thanks to the tuner, the next step is to verify it in a real-world situation, on a real phrase, not just on a held note in front of a dial. I take the melody generated earlier and click on the blue microphone icon. Try playing. The expected note flashes in blue. I play it into the microphone at my own pace. If I play it correctly, it turns green and moves forward. If I play it incorrectly, it turns red and I play it again. And at the end, there is a complete summary: validated notes, wrong notes, average intonation. Why do this now and not before? Well, because without the prior work with the tuner, this feedback wouldn't have meant anything. Now I already know what a clean note is. I can use it to self-correct note by note. Now we are changing the nature of the exercise. Up until now I was checking what I was playing. Now it's the app that will play and only my ear must recognize what it's playing. So I open the musical dictation module, beginner level, holes 4 to 6, 2 notes to start. I click on the D, the app plays a short phrase of 2 notes without displaying anything. I listen again as many times as necessary, then I play back what I heard into the microphone. Each correct note fills its box. A wrong note flashes in red. If I get stuck, I click on Reveal, which shows me the solution. Until now, I always relied on something written or generated in advance. Here, for the first time, I'm trusting my ear without a safety net. Exactly what will allow you later to transcribe a blues phrase by ear without sheet music. And only now, once the notes and ear are solid, will I tackle rhythm for real. Not before, because if I mix the two problems, which notes and which rhythm, if I do that too early, I never know which of the two I'm messing up. The app generates a one-measure rhythm and plays it with the metronome. So I click on the drum icon at the end of the note durations, and after a one-measure count-in, I reproduce it either by tapping the spacebar or into the microphone on one or more notes, clearly detaching each attack. I get immediate feedback, right or wrong. Why last on this list? Because for a beginner, it's often the rhythm that fails before the accuracy of the notes. But to realize that, the accuracy must already be reliable first. Otherwise, it's impossible to know where the error is coming from. So there you have it. If I had to start over today, in order, I would do all of this. I would first understand the notation and the virtual harmonica. I would generate a first beginner level melody so as to never get stuck staring at a blank page. I would work in small loops with a tempo that increases on its own. I would check my accuracy with a tuner, then I would move on to note recognition, then to musical dictation, and only afterwards to the rhythm workshop. The key finder, chord progressions, song structure, exports, all of that will come naturally later, once the foundations of tonality and positioning are set. As you can see, the Harmonica Trainer was designed by a harmonica teacher myself, and I know what it's all about because I've been there, and because every day I encounter these difficulties with my students. If you are a beginner and you have neither the time nor the means to pay for harmonica lessons with a real teacher, whether in person or via webcam, the Harmonica Trainer can really help you. It will channel your practice so you don't go off in all directions. It will really structure your progress. €49 is not even the price of 2 lessons, and it will really help you. I will soon make a video for harmonica players who are more advanced in their practice to talk about the functions I chose not to cover in this video, to avoid confusing beginners, of course. But know that Harmonica Trainer is capable of taking you far in your understanding and approach to music and in improving your playing. See you soon on harmonicatrainer.com.